Here at the Tivoli Gardens, Danes of all ages enjoy one of the essential rituals of growing up Danish, possibly the world's oldest amusement park. Danes over the generations have discovered through the exotic amusements here at Tivoli Gardens the uniqueness of their own society on the one hand, and the strangeness or the otherness of the world beyond Denmark's boundaries. After all, in Malaysia, Southeast Asia, where I come from, where millions of people are Muslim, motifs of minarets and mosques would never become amusements like this. For Morten Messerschmidt of the far-right People's Party, Danish fears of foreigners and Muslim immigrants are growing, as this audience found one night in Nørrebro's migrant quarter. Disrupted at first by a group wanting to silence Messerschmidt, the discussion with Bashi Qureshi, Denmark's well-known migrant activist, was remarkably civil. Yet many migrants and their Danish children find their reality far more fraught. So who is Danish in the 21st century? Qureshi hopes a multi-ethnic Denmark is possible.
That Danes were not prepared to deal with a Pakistani who cooked lamb with spinach in his, as his neighbor, or who wanted to go to mosque and pray, or he wanted to listen to Pakistani music. Because in Denmark, one thing which was good but at the same time was bad, that everybody had to look like each other, everybody had to act like each other, everybody has to speak the same language, everybody has to form a certain normality. And when you are not part of that normality, then you are the other. So that is why if you look at the media debate, there's always them against us, Danes versus foreigners. They even use the word foreigner for those people who have lived here all their life, who are born here, who are educated here.
Istergale is a popular migrant enclave, quite different from the extreme right's idea of ethnic purity. Once renowned for resisting Nazi occupiers during the Second World War, this neighborhood still harbors dissent.
For mig er danskhed alle mulige forskellige ting, og lige nu har jeg ikke behov for at kalde mig for dansker, og jeg kan heller ikke identificere mig med mange, der er bange for sådan nogen som mig, fordi at jeg er bare en borger i det her samfund. Det er meget vigtigt for mig, som det her det handler egentlig for mig ikke om at være dansk, eller tyrkisk, eller arabisk, eller hvad fanden jeg efterhånden er. Det handler meget om, at jeg er en borger i det her samfund, og den accept har jeg ligesom først og fremmest på nuværende tidspunkt accepteret, at jeg selv har gjort det. Ikke? Og så kan man så sige, at danskerne har på mange niveauer ikke nået frem til min stadie.
Birgil Barmer's acceptance of such Danish diversity seems at odds with her conservative government's policies, which have significantly tightened migration rules and tolerance of different religious and cultural practices in Denmark.
Integration is bad. The vast majority of immigrants between 16 and 66 do not work in this country. They are on social benefit. That is a big problem for society, because we will need this labor in the long run. It's also a problem for those families, because the way to integrate and the way to get respect from the rest of society is to work, to contribute. Don't teach me about giving room for multiculturalism. I cannot think of any country in the world where there's so much taxpayers' money involved in multicultural activities.
One thing is to say that we have a multicultural society. Another thing is to accept it. And I am a part of the multicultural society, but we are not accepted at all. And if it were up to the Danes and the government now, I think they would rather be free of us. Sometimes when I walk in the street, men think they have greater opportunities sexually with me because they look Asian. Even though my body language is very, very Danish and very hostile towards these kinds of thoughts. And it's very degrading for me, and it's very difficult for me to look upon myself as an integrated individual when people look upon me differently. The youth in Denmark are much more open, yes, of course they are. And they are much more used to to live in a globalized world and as you say, travel around the world. So it's easier, but that's a minority.
Okay.
It's difficult to be up against the media and the Danish politics, and then I'm sure you have to remember there are people who don't think like that, and that's just great.
Exploiting fear of a multicultural, multi-religious society rewards populist politicians, more so when Denmark's and Western Europe's welfare states are besieged by the reality of globalization. Yet for many young Danes, growing up different isn't so unusual anymore. Asia isn't just imagined at Tivoli. She and he are also the fabric of most neighborhoods.